634 Adages of Imam Ali, peace be upon him, about the bad habits and avoiding them. 234 Who got scared, his adversity shall be huge. 235 The injustice of a person shall make him fall down and kill him. At least on some level, right? 236 Who has no sincerity has no faith. 237 The worst of habits is curiosity. 238 Whose reputation was bad? For his death people shall be glad. 239 He is sent astray who was guided by something else other than the guidance of Allah. 240 Who planned in a bad way, his destruction would come right away. 241 The worst of all companions are the ignorant. 242 Who has the pride over people shall be humiliated. 243 The worst of friends is the envious. 244 Who rode over his desires shall fall down. 245 The injustice towards the weak, that is the evil of the injustice. Is it supposed to be that's the batter of the injustice? 246 The worst of all speeches is the lie. 247 Who liked his own opinion then shall be sent astray. 248 The most devilish thing that one can occupy his leisure time with is curiosity. 249 By injustice the favors are taken out. 250 Who laughs a lot shall be put down. 251 By lying the hypocrites ornament themselves. 252 Who plays a lot shall be thought of as stupid. 253 The worst of deeds is the sin. 254 The injustice towards the surrendering person, that is the greatest crime. And a person who surrenders to God is a Muslim. 255 The most devilish of people is he who thinks he is the best of them. 256 Who thinks himself to be safe from the trials of Allah, then he is doomed. 257 The injustice towards the favors, that is the ugly pride. 258 The fruit of misery, of money, is tiredness. The fruit of misery is tiredness. 259 Who is glad for the corruption shall feel bad for the afterlife. 260 The fruit of arguing is the damage. 261 The worst of all supplies is doing the evil. 262 Whose play is much, his mind is lessened. 263 The obedience of the desire can be a killer. 264 The worst of injustice is the injustice toward the surrendering one. 265 Whose envy lasts long, then his grief shall be long. And with 259, people think, oh, well, I'm not the one doing it. It's like this whole system of corruption that people look at. Well, the lifestyles of the rich and famous and the other replacements for the chivalry that used to be. Well, it's because the other people excuse it. They look up to it. They say, well, if I was in that position, I would do the same things. Maybe even, to maintain that position. It's like, well, you can't excuse the bad deeds because They won't be rich. They won't be powerful politicians if they do good with their resources and behave themselves on their leisure time. But I think that can add up to, people will still be in such positions in society if we required them to be the better people that served both the richer and the masses. 266. The fruit of the inability is missing the chance. 267. To leave doing the sin that is hard and harder than it is to let go of paradise. 268. The worst of gangs is the haram. 269. Whose character is occupied by jest, his mind then is less. 270. By pride, the favor giving is corrupted. 271. The winning of the mean shall be fatal. 272. The most devilish of people is the people avoid him for his evil. 273. The worst companion for faith is the greed. 274. By injustice, the wrath is bought. 275. Being unjust towards slaves of the law, that corrupts the afterlife. 276. The most devilish of manners of the soul is the injustice. 277. The worst of men is he who sells his faith for the sake of another man's life. You see these people with their entourages that even take the blame for other people, or to go along with their life. And 278. The most devilish of opinions is what opposes the law. 279. The increment in lust puts down the courage. 280. The worst of lineage is the bad manners. 281. The most devilish of all deeds is what collapses the good deeds. 282. Your desire for someone that does not recognize you is humility. 283. The worst of works is to work on separating two people loving each other. 284. The ego is summed in being asleep in front of the enemy. 285. The worst necklace is the necklace of debt. 286. The most devilish of people is the one who wrongs the people. 287. Your desire in the impossible is an ignorance. 288. The worst of readiness is the dictatorship. 289. For the aggressor, there is a bad end. 290. When the intention is bad, the blessing is removed up. 291. The worst supply for the afterlife, that is aggression upon the slaves of Allah. Because everybody serves God willingly or unwillingly. Even the shadows follow the laws of God. 292. Who laughs a lot? His heart shall die. 293. The goal of the infidel is the hell. 294. The worst habit is misery. 295. Who counts his favors, his generosity shall be destroyed. 296. The reason for hatred is arguing so much. 297. By being scared a lot, the adversity is enlarged. 298. Whose habits were bad, his family shall be tired of him. 299. When the reputation is bad, the interior becomes corrupted. 300. Who lies a lot, his truth shall not be believed. And also the people who, they're not lying, but it's a fiction, that can break one's ability towards truth. 301. May there be a cheater that got killed by his cheating. 302. Delaying work is a sign of laziness. 303. Who jokes a lot, his respect is lessened. 304. The fruit of doubts is bafflement. 305. Keep on watching a flaw that is shameful. To limit it, right? 306. Whose manners are low, his flaws are abundant. 307. Lessening the sin is greater than doing it. 308. Who fights against the one above him shall be a loser. 309. The writer of the sin shall be in hell. 310. Who accompanies misery shall not be given the advices. 311. The pride of a person shall put him down. 312. Who opposes the truth, Allah shall be his opponent. 313. Just like someone who opposes time, well, God's in charge of time, so God has this quality of truth too. So it's on both those levels, right? 313. The fruit of envy is the tiredness of life and the afterlife. 314. The most devilish of people is who cheats upon the people. 315. The writer of injustices shall be reached by the loss. 316. The fruit of greed is the humiliation of this life and the afterlife. 317. By pride, the favor doing is neglected. 318. The most devilish of deeds is what brings the sins. 319. The writer of arguments shall be exposed to the adversity. 320. The bad neighbor is the greatest hard time and the hardest adversity. 321. The fruit of hope is the corruption of the deed. 322. Who insisted on asking shall be banned. 323. Being satisfied about yourself is a sign for your bad mind. 324. Who insists has no planning. 325. An hour of humiliation does not fill to the dignity of the lifetime. 326. The writer of injustice shall be flipped by his own boat. 327. A miser has no beloved one. 328. In misery lies the curse. 329. The writer of violence, it is hard for him to reach his goal. 330. The cutter of kinship relations has no relatives. 331. The most devilish of all people is who helps against the wronged one. 332. The hearer of the slander is one of the slanderers. 333. Being scared bears no rewards. Now, if you know that someone's being lied about, it's your duty to do something about it, right? And just like difficulty for itself is not the reward. Yes, you can atone and all that. You can gain merit by the difficulty you go through, but causing a difficulty, and here we can look at people who, force themselves to be scared by horror movies and all that sort of stuff.